This is Mates. These guys were a tier 2 EMEA squad that through years and years of endless grinding, won Ascension, and made it into franchising. But in order to keep their spot, Riot requires promoted teams to either make Stage 2 playoffs or finish top 8 in championship points. I won't explain more because the details are kind of boring, but in order to get to playoffs, Mates just needed to close out these 3 games. 12-4, 12-5, 12-6. These guys had these matches in the palm of their hand, but every match, they choked, threw, fumbled the bag, screwed the pooch. I mean, how could a tier 1 team choke this many dominating leads? I don't know. But you know what? If a tier 1 team can't close out games once they hit 12 rounds, then they don't deserve their spot in franchising. Get out! All of you, just get out! You stupid donkeys! Now, the most common way I've seen leads blown like this is that players start lagging, they get pissed, they start making stupid mistakes, and they lose. So if you want to stop losses that are out of your control, you need exit lag. I've personally been a customer for almost 2 years. And as you're listening to me yap, Exit Lag is running a Black Friday special where their annual plan is 50% off, plus you get an additional 3 months for free. Yeah, 3 30-day free keys, meaning you're basically getting 15 months for the price of 6. Meaning you'll never lag out again for over a year? You're gonna save so much RR! Exit Lag is the #1 network optimizer and offers a wide range of online service solutions. From AI route optimization to a dynamic stabilizer and a diagnostic center, all while supporting over 2,000 games. Their scalable infrastructure also supports 1,000 servers across 5 continents and 18 million weekly optimizations. You'll never lag again. And setting up is easy. Just go to their website, create an account, download Exit Lag, and install. You then just pick your favorite game, select your ideal routing, apply, and just look at the results for themselves. Exit Lag also features multiplayer plans, a duos one for you and a friend, or even a squad plan for up to 5 people. All of which are included in that Black Friday special. So if you want the highest internet connection quality possible, you need Exit Lag. Support me and fix your network issues by clicking my link down in the description. Imagine being the owner of Mates. You invest hundreds of thousands, maybe even over $1 million to build this team up, qualify for Ascension, win Ascension, and in order to maintain your spot in franchising, your team just has to win each of these 3 games. But they end up blowing each one. Must feel horrible, right? Well, Squeezy, one of Mates' owners, streamed every single choke live on his Twitch. And that's the footage we're using today. Then we can see in real time what it feels like to watch everything you built up crumble to the ground. But I don't want you guys thinking that Mates are some doo-doo ass dog water team. They were pretty good. Look at what happened before disaster struck. Mates are on a save, but despite having bad guns, have a solid plan. In their 2-1-2, they want to create so much pressure on C that the offense freak out and just run into A and comebacks. Wow, what a name for a video like this. His overdrive. And this plan should work. BBL are lined up to go A. The barriers fall, and Mates rip their paranoia, recon, and fault line past Mound, which has Fade backpedaling and is screaming to her team that the defense is pushing C. Which is good, because behind a teleport and couple satchels, Rubble belongs to the attackers. The defense raise their toxic screen, and Magnum flings his barrier mesh to deter any more aggression from the defenders. Now, the offense were initially scared away by this push, but don't want to get too hasty. So Omen teleports up and sends a smoke to block the site sightline, hoping someone comes to stairs and jump spots.
Andy. And he was trapped.
Slow-mo.
They've gotten him out now.
Well, that's enough info to stack A. Now Breach and Sova are here to go all in, but after a while, the offense feel like they should leave. After giving up so much map control early, the defense probably know it's A. So as the bulk of BBL decide to head back, Magnum stays with his Magnum Dong stun sensors, which should protect him in case of a defensive re-clear. But once the offense get far enough, BBL want to make sure Mate's stack doesn't break. So Magnum lobs a Gravnet, Omen smoke stairs. Mates have abandoned 2/3 of the map. So the attackers funnel the way into C, and the defense clear A, and realize it's empty. BBL get a safe and open plant off, and as all of Mates sprint through spawn, we have to ask ourselves, how on earth do they win this?
C'est trop fort.
BBL.
Allez, c'est parti. Y a le drone, on sait qu'il y en a. Oh, le stun, magnifique. Wesh. Attends, on en prend 2. Attends, et pourquoi pas? Non, ouais, Magnum qui a fait un carnage. Oh 2v1. Ouais, il diffuse. Oh ouais, le rebondeur. Oh, le rebondeur.
Despite not having guns, this was a good-ass retake. Sova's Aldrone helped Breach line up his fault line for Nian to run at Waterfall, and this side smoke prevented BBL from blasting Mates as they came in. Yampy felt like he had to swing, and when he died, chaos followed. But here, Mates looked so confident, composed, and in control. It's match point, and BBL are forced to buy whatever they can after dropping a round that they should have won, featuring a lone Vandal, and their loadouts look horrible. But Gentlemates, on the other hand, should never lose in this scenario. With 4 ults, they should be able to just dump abilities on the offense until they lose. As a matter of fact, that's the key to not blowing 12x leads, hoarding your ultimates for one big guaranteed round. This is why Gentlemates blew those other games as well. They didn't know how to manage their ults, and from the looks of this round, you'd think they learned that, right? In their 2-1-2, Neon is helping Viper get set up in her pit, while the rest of their team play for info. But BBL do have a couple win conditions. Social B has his Tour de Force online, and can find an early kill on A, Yampy has his Nightfall, and Lewn is 1 point off his Showstopper. This round is closer than you think, and it begins with a trade of smokes, but Neon and Chamber swinging through. Yampy's Hot lands, forcing Comeback to retreat into Minnie's Viper's pit, but also into a Grav net. The Prowler secures Mount for the offense, but I don't think these 3 can push past this. Back on A, Chambers posted on the A main line, hoping that with all that commotion on C, someone would at least jump spot for info on A. But he has to peek further. Prox is dribbling from stairs. While BBL feel like their plan didn't work, so their fallbacks to leave Chamber posted and regroup to try and ram themselves through this big ass fart cloud. It is really risky to push through this toxic gas, but when your loadouts look like this, you need to make bold plays. Plus, having a rocket launcher helps. And now while the offense gather, Neon thinks to herself, no way those bozos push through your ult, they'll die! And retreats to stack B with her breach. Then pile on this lurk smoke from the offense, and BBL finally have Viper all by herself.
C'est une victoire à mes yeux.
I think his mates have so much to respond to. Not on this site, but for the
Il a molly.
retake. It didn't hit him. Then he just wants to get out.
Ils l'ont pas hit et il a molly, frérot.
Ouais, c'est dégueulasse.
BBL have made it in, but mates still have 2 of the strongest ults in the game, but they shouldn't use them. As long as they don't blow them now, they can just win next round or something. The offense funnel in, start to plant, but BBL aren't stupid. They know Breach has his Rolling Thunder, so they still have to push. They smoke deep spawn and move forward.
In a row needed, they have plenty of time.
Oh,
Rolling
magnifique.
Thunder goes through. Great parent.
Oh! Non! Allez, 3v2.
Je
Je comprends rien. 2v1. 2v1, s'il vous plaît. Non, s'il vous plaît.
We just blew everything? Why? These ults take like 5 rounds to build up. BBL had a couple rifles, Chambers op, and we're up a player. Just try and retake without those abilities. I know it takes discipline, and the agents sound really cool when they use them, but this is how mates choke their other games. Now, all hope isn't lost. Fade is at about half HP, and Sova has full kit. Yampy needs a Vandal if he wants to even have a chance, but they're all on spawn, and he's pinned. How can Fakaj lose this?
2v1. 2v1, s'il vous plaît. Non, s'il vous plaît. S'il vous plaît. Dieu soit loué. Par pitié, je vous en supplie. Il a la Stinger, il va attendre close. Il va attendre close. Il a pris. Comment tu la joues? Allez, mets-le ce clutch. Mets-le ce clutch, VKage. Fais taire les mauvaises langues. Mais non!
Yumpy can't quite get an angle on him. The spam here, oh, but it won't land the pick.
Vikash missed the Odin spam, recon, Aldron tag, and whipped at the end. This dude can't even hit the broadside of a barn. Now, not only did mates blow all of their ults, but now they have no money. On their save, Drummates got ran over, but the important thing to note is that Yampy bagged himself 2 kills, the plant, and died. Combine those ult points with a 3k plus plant he got in his clutch, and he has his Nightfall again? In 1 round! This calls for a Drummates timeout. Alright guys, quit being goofy. We only need 1 more round to win this game. We don't want to choke again, right? Holy fuck, we're so screwed. Coming out of the timeout, BBL have a sick execute for C planned with their Nightfall on From the Shadows, but first want to pressure A. While Gentlemates are getting aggressive on B, but are quickly pivoting to combat A in their 1-2-2. They make the first move by insta-flashing and sliding down B. Nice. Think about it. BBL just came out of a timeout and are probably super focused on whatever their coach told them. They wouldn't be thinking about dodging a flash, but no one's here. The offense have instead netted, smoked, and haunted Rubble to make it seem like they're coming out that way. But instead, they're headed C, and Vikash's recon snuffs out that no one's here. So Neon stops on a dime, immediately pivoting to C while Breach takes the scenic route to Waterfall, so he's prepared to assist his C anchors. Back on Mound, the offense have grouped up behind Viper's Poison Orb, but now she's out of fuel.
Allez, allez.
Attention, ils activent. Là, c'est une énorme acti. On est déjà 3. On est déjà 3. On s'est fait croquer par un loup fantôme. Attention, il y a Mini qui est sur site. Et là, ils vont retaille.
Mates have completely stopped BBL's push. Their plan was to Nightfall site to deafen the defense and use omens from the shadows to teleport into the backline. But Neon was too aware. And with 2 sentinels, Lewd doesn't feel confident to send it through this poison orb without Omen's paranoia. So the offense turn tail and hit the switch, which drags over Breach and Neon? Surely you're not biting this hard. Your Viper's stranded.
Oui, on a tout lu. On est sur ce B. Mais ils y vont pas. Ils temporisent. Ils voulaient faire bouger le River. Et c'était Néon. Allez, oui. Non, j'ai cru.
How did Mates only kill 1 guy? And why did Neon leave? You're not going to contest a B hit. Just sit still and help Viper on C in case BBL come back. And now, maybe the guy who whiffed everything last round can clutch up?
Over the last few rounds, and while Bekaj is just a little bit far behind everybody else, will be spotted, stunned, and every
j'ai cru.
peaks, he still does.
Gentlemates had to save again, but this eco presented the big weakness in BBL's comp that the defense need to exploit. They suck at taking and re-clearing rubble. 9 times out of 10, you'll see teams run Viper, but BBL have opted for Chamber or Deadlock over her. The reason why Viper is so crucial is because on attack, she makes taking rubble a ton easier. With her smokes, teams can fight or re-clear rubble whenever they need. With rubble, the offense can threaten attacking to 4 different choke points, which is why you see teams fight for this area so often. Now Chamber, he can hold A better on defense and can find timings for early kills on offense. Then Deadlock can lock down a site once it's taken and use her net to prevent defenders from pushing early. Or she is excellent at securing rubble on defense. Now those sound great in theory, but they can't hold a candle to Viper's toxic screen that provides you cover and can go up and down 100 times in a round. If you look at last round, Omen held rubble while his team stacked B and C, and on this save, Prox held the offense back with just a Sheriff, but eventually the pistols got overrun. What I'm trying to prove is that mates have solid win conditions. Fight A early, or just save up your ult a second time for one big final round. Chokes like this should never happen in Tier 1. So now that we have 2 solid win conditions, let's see if mates play to them after being rolled on their save. In their 2-1-2, they have an op set up on a passive C line, while only 2 fight A. That's not bad. They recognize BBL can't take A easy, so they probably won't. And they also have no flashes to shake the op's crosshair. Plus, BBL are headed straight for it. As long as comeback hits the shot, Gentlemates should be okay. Round 22 begins with a quick smoke and recon from the defense to confirm no one's A, and the offense haunt, net, and Prowler to clear path up mound. But how do they survive the op? Mini's here to break any Prowlers or bots.
Could be out of their control. They would need to win both of their games. I think.
Yikes. Well, now Viper solo. She mollies the entrance, but the offense are dumping a paranoia. Paint shells. Wait, Sova, what are you doing?
A very valuable pick in a buy round. There it is, though. The trade back, but Lewd is quick to keep numbers in their favor. The timing, perfect for Sociable. It's a little slow to start, but he gets there in the end, as does Lewd.
Why are we blowing her Sova ult? Especially when Breach is so close to his Rolling Thunder. Mini, you saw Lewd satchel in. When did you want to look right? And now Kamek's whiffing. So it might look like Gentlemates are forcing, but they're not. Because they've lost so many rounds in a row, their loss bonus is now up to 3,000 credits. So even if they throw this one, mates can still full buy next. Now BBL are slamming A again, but I think there's a pattern to their playstyle. You see, the offense know that they can't go A well, so when they're playing against an eco, that's when they'll go A, so it doesn't look like they're avoiding going rubble all the time. But when facing full buys, they'll start elsewhere, or they'll play slow. Here, they're playing against mates half buy, so they're slamming A. But it looks like mates have caught on to this pattern and are contesting the offense. The attackers burst through the buy phase behind a haunt, net, and raise.
This one with a chance to go 3-0. Instead, if they choke this, they are going 0-3 and Lewd. I said maybe he just needed an awakening. He's definitely found it. This isn't a light buy. This is a full investment once again. And he is just single-handedly tearing
Ça se passe bien, je te tiens au courant.
The defense were not expecting this explosive of a take from that team comp and got blindsided. And now that Lewd feels like Thanos, BBL have all the momentum while Gentlemates feel hopeless.
Pourquoi on a buy? Pourquoi on a... Il nous a ace. Raze nous a ace.
Now, one factor that I haven't talked about yet in this historic choke job is confidence. And it plays a huge role in competition, especially esports. This might sound like a load of malarkey, but it's true. According to this study and many others, confidence positively affects flow state, while anxiety destroys it. A high level of confidence enhances thoughts, feelings, and behaviors that support performance. So on that third kill Lewd got last round, could you not feel the momentum completely overtake this game? And do you know what lowers confidence? Focusing on the fact that your team recently blew 2 12-something leads, and that this game is shaping up to be the same. I am sure that every round lost since they've hit 12 makes them been thinking, oh man, I hope we don't choke again, and end up making stupid hero plays like blowing ults. So next time you're in a ranked game and you start losing your big lead, don't focus on the fact that you're tossing. Instead, come up with a plan. It's crazy how chemicals in our brains can make games go up to here, but down to this. And the stench of despair only gets worse from Gentlemates. For the final round of the half, their plan is to crunch these 2/3 of the map in their 3-2-0 and retake A with Breach's soon-to-be Rolling Thunder. But BBL can smell Gentlemates' desperation, so they're playing back and reactive while still leaning A. Mate's final life starts with a Paranoia, Relay Bolt, Recon, and Faultline capture the smoke for A, while the offense have cleared rubble. But their race is backed into a corner. What does she do?
Just here for Mates. They had enough credits in the bank, and Lewd is going to be the one under pressure, the showstopper. It catches Mini. The aggression fails. That's a 9th kill, and it's just carrying on.
The defenders thought they'd catch someone on C, didn't, and pivoted to find a kill on B. But all they found was a rocket launcher. Mates desperately swung after the explosion to get the trade, but didn't even wait for their flash. Pile on the fact that Magnum saw Omen, Breach, and no Sova started C, the offense are going A. They funnel through main, clearing all of their corners just to be safe, and activate their Nightfall as one last precaution. But Gentlemates are desperate to try and find something, so Kamek unleashes his last hope.
Not many would have believed.
I didn't.
But they kept themselves in it. And now it looks like we're going to overtime. Kamek and Prox, players who were so close to seeing a third map, now find themselves alone against the rising tide of BBL, and Mates are washed away.
After having a small break to think about the lead they just blew, Mates now have to win a round on attack versus a double Sentinel comp. And we're jumping right into it because the observers fell asleep at the start of the round. The defense have locked down Mound with Deadlock's Barrier Mesh and opens the door to check for Chamber, while the offense have taken A behind the protection of their walls plus a recon. Now, before the offense just go A, they want to generate pressure across the map to avoid running into a stack. So from outside Mound, Vikesh sends out his Aldrone, which spots Project in this wall. And Omen ain't moving. He just tucks, refreshes his one way, and tells his Deadlock to stay towards A. But just to make sure the attackers are still here, Yampy releases a Prowler, which finds a tag and anchors their stack. Now, while this barrier mesh allows the defense to keep more players that way, it does give Mates an idea. Viper, Omen, and Sova back out through A main and leave Breach and Neon behind to head towards Mound. The Deadlock's wall has just expired, so they want to fake an A take to keep the defense planted while these three run it up C. And now getting past B is pretty risky. The offense haven't spotted Chamber yet, so Omen and Viper double swing B main at the same time and finally get into position behind this one way. But on A, Breach and Neon have been scanned. This convinces Omen that an A hit is brewing, but is he leaving too early? The BBL already have 3 here anyway. A Prophet must have realized that because he ducks back into spawn to make it back to C. Alright, time's up. Let's do this.
Allez, ouvre la porte pour confirmer. Comme ça, voilà.
Well, that didn't work, but it was a nice net and swing bait setup. But regardless, the offense now have to go C. The remaining attackers sprint up, Molly backside, smoke waterfall, recon, but get slowed by this sensor. BBL have put 2 and 2 together and are rushing back to help Omen. Raze considers flanking, but stops, and realizes she's only 1 point off for Showstopper. Now, as the defense are rotating, Profec understands that Mates have to get aggressive. So he's back in spawn, hoping to contain the attackers, and both Omens trade Paranoias. This stalls Mates just long enough for the rocket launcher to group up with the bulk of his team.
He doubled his kills in 2 rounds, and now he's not stopping. With Profec down, the showstopper comes in.
Allez,
it clears
allez,
the space.
il est low HP.
Il
est low HP, Thor. Thanos, non.
They continue. They want waterfall. They want that space. They want Yuppie on the ground. But they're dropping like flies. And now it's Vikesh with a sliver of health to fall. BBL 13 on the board. They were down and
now, yes, it looks like DBL are dismembering mates in this post plant, but both teams did the right thing. In order to even the player advantage, the offense had to make a play or they just get traded out. So Fade and Chamber naturally played more passive and let the 3-stack take more of the fights. But once Lewn's Showstopper came out, mates ran from spawn to waterfall, where Yampy held his ground and allowed his team to come in for the pinch. I genuinely feel bad for these owners. This team was literally built from nothing, made it all the way to tier 1, and have devolved into this. Having to sit here and watch your baby get pounded into the ground is quite literally torture, and there's nothing they can do about it. So let's just put them out of their misery. Mate's plan is to play for Info and Rubble so that Breach can fault line in these two fight. Hopefully that's enough pressure to scare the offense into going C, where Comeback, still a funny name, has an op. On overtime rounds, players are only given 5,000 credits. This sniper costs 4,700, meaning purchasing this weapon is a huge risk as you can't afford much else. It won't be expected. Now in the attackers 4-1, they're headed right for the op. Comeback going to whiff again. The round starts and BBL pretend like they're taking A with a smoke and haunt, but those get snuffed out by Vikash's recon. Now as Social B and Prophet prepare to walk deeper into B in a hunt for lurks, the rest of their team take Mound with a Prowler and Net. But the defense have taken Rubble, allowing Sova to pick up Secret and Breach to shift towards C. Is this C hit going to work? Deadlock flings her barrier mesh to block off rotates, Omen smokes on sight, and Yampy rips a Prowler. Why are we smoking off the op? Well, now that the offense know this Elo cannon exists, Raze pushes it off the line with their paint shells and then Boombot. The defense prevent the sniper from being run down with the snakebite at dark cover, but that's what the offense wants. With all this commotion created on C, BBL wanted to bait over some rotates.
With franchise on the line, this is more pressure than these players have ever felt, and pressure put on B leaves Vekash on the floor. The TP is a B, a sociable hold.
Sova was caught out of position, Breach tried getting to the smoke early, Crocs wanted to make a play, which just ended up giving the offense an avenue to A. Now down 5 versus 2, plus a rocket launcher, I think it's more entertaining to watch the owner's reaction than the game itself.
20 HP. It's Mini that may have to carry the mantle, and time is ticking.
Sociable up close. Like the problem is, like, it almost feels like they're down and out. They're waiting for a flank to come in, but this time has already been ticking for so long. They needed to be way further forward than this, and they are still scoping out the backlines. They're still looking to see if there's anybody holding a flank. Like, it's so much time already gone, and it just doesn't matter at this stage. Comeback has to scurry away, and the comeback is done.
Which choke was worse? Mates or NRGs? I think NRGs. But watch this video for yourself and you tell me.